Hi everyone, it's Andy LaCivita, founder of Mile Walk and the Mile Walk Academy and award-winning author of The Hiring Prophecies, bringing you a fun 3-part video/email series titled 3 Keys to Acing Any Job Interview. It's all about the communication techniques that get you hired. So I was looking at, how could I deliver something fun, fast, in different mediums that people might enjoy. I know some of you like to watch videos, some of you like to read emails, some of you just want to read the text, some of you want to carve out an hour, go to a webinar. I've got it all for you. I've decided that I would create a fast 3-part series and deliver it to you using all of those mediums. So you can pick and choose whatever you want. And this is really for anybody who's job interviewing. It will help you no matter who you are, no matter what your job is, no matter what level in the organization you are. It really is great basic techniques that you can use no matter what. And it's not even just for job interviewing, it's for general business communication or any communication in your life. I think as we get into lessons 2 and 3, I think you'll see that. But I think it will be especially eye-opening if you are one of those people who has been invited to a job interview, you had a job interview and you weren't invited back. Or maybe you had a whole series of job interviews and the employer didn't extend an offer to you and you are wondering what went wrong. I was perfect, I scored well, my qualifications were perfect, I was a great match for the organization, I'm just not sure what went wrong. Well, I'm here today to share with you what went wrong, and in the next couple lessons, I'm going to teach you how to fix it. But before we start, I want to give you just a little bit about me. I have been an executive recruiter for about the last dozen years or so. In the last 3 decades, I've dedicated my life to helping people succeed at work. And more recently, as an executive recruiter, I have spent a lot of time helping people and organizations get together. And over the last decade or so, I've helped more than 500 people secure new jobs. And over that time, I've also conducted, observed, witnessed, debriefed, you name it, more than 20,000 job interviews. And I've packaged up learnings from all those experiences. And not only do I teach that and coach job candidates on these techniques, but I've also written a book. I can't believe it. Interview Intervention, Communication That Gets You Hired is on its 5th anniversary. It's 5 years this book's been in existence. And in that time, it has been purchased or downloaded by nearly 100,000 people. I can't believe that many people have taken to this book to really help them with their careers. And I decided I would carve out 3 key lessons from the book and share them in this little mini-series. There's tons more information in the book. There's more information in the webinars that we're conducting on my Tips for Work and Life blog. But I've got 3 fast ones for you. Today, I really want to set up this series, and I want to talk about ultimately why you get the job. And today is about your mindset, and it's about putting you on alert so that you can think in advance as you prepare to go into the job interview. And in the second and the third lesson, we're going to talk about what techniques to actually use to do that. But number 1, today, I want to talk about why you actually get the job. So I want you to think about this for a second. If you've ever been invited to a job interview or a phone screen or an informal meeting with an employer, whatever it might be, they, by their actions, have essentially said you are qualified for the job. Otherwise, why would they spend their time talking to you? I know there are rare exceptions, but for the most part, they're saying you're qualified on paper. So what happens from the time you go from being qualified on paper to the time you don't get invited back for a second job interview or you don't get a job offer? You have to open your mouth, and they have to open theirs. And in that interaction and in that communication is where the job interview breaks down. And think about this to make matters worse. What we're about to discuss is not even your fault, but it becomes your problem because you are the job candidate seeking the job. Employers have untrained interviewers. They're distracted. They're busy. They're not well trained at interviewing. There's communication gaps. There's biases. There's a number of things that intrude on their ability and your ability to accurately exchange information. So as I was observing all these job interviews and watching what was transpiring and knowing full well after spending many hours with a job candidate and many hours with an employer and evaluating the criteria, but what both were looking for, I was looking for that breakdown and why were people not succeeding or why were organizations not succeeding when they were a great match for each other. It came down to these 3 reasons, and that's what I want to share with you today. So number 1, it is about the job candidate's ability to accurately articulate his or her fit and value to the employer. So even if you're qualified, even if you have all the credentials, even if you're the right cultural fit, even if you're great at what you do, if you cannot effectively articulate that and connect the dots for the employer, it makes no difference. That's the first issue. The second issue is, even if you say it perfectly, even if you put it all in perfect words, perfect prose, you pass it along to the interviewer has to accurately decode what you said and accurately interpret what you meant. Just because you said it perfectly doesn't mean they got it perfectly. So that's the second issue. So there is a real-time exchange of information that becomes an issue. There's many communication gaps, there's many biases, there's many distractions that can prevent you from doing this effectively. How you're feeling on that day, how they're feeling on that day, what time of day it is. There's a million things that can go wrong. But the third element is also something that most people don't ever give any consideration to, and that's memory. Memory plays a huge part in whether or not you will be successful in getting an employment offer through your job interviewing efforts with an employer. And the reason that that's really important is because job hiring decisions don't happen in real time. Often they are a collection of interviewers' memories that are occurring at some future date as they're trying, or sometimes they're not even discussing it among each other. They're just passing their feedback to somebody who's gathering and orchestrating that and making a decision. So memory plays a huge part in whether or not you get hired. So how you communicate during the interview, how the interviewer interprets what you're communicating, and that works in your direction as well. The employer has to effectively communicate to you. But then that third element is, what breadcrumbs are you planting in the job interviewer's mind so at some future date he or she is remembering you the way you want to be remembered. So for this lesson, I just want you to understand that there's 3 reasons you get a job, and I want you to think about this. So before we get to the next lesson, which will just be in a day or so, I want you to think about any job interviews that you've had and where you think these communication breakdowns occurred or why they occurred, and think about what you might have been able to do or say or explain, or how you might have been better prepared to overcome them. Because in the next lesson, I'm going to talk specifically about the components to include in your stories so that you become believable, likable, memorable in the way you want to be remembered, so that the employer finds you irresistible. So for now, I just want you to understand it is not all about your qualifications, and it is not about you just sitting down and rifling through why you're a great match for the job. It is really about your ability to send your message effectively. It's about the employer's ability to interpret what you said correctly, and that the onus also falls on you to make sure that they interpreted it correctly. And there's some great techniques to do that. And memory plays a part. So right now, I just want you to remember those. And in the next lesson, we'll get into some more tactics that you can use. If you like this episode, I hope you share it. There's certainly much more detail in the Interview Intervention book. There's much more detail in the email that I sent you. There's also much more information on my Tips for Work and Life blog, or my YouTube channel, or podcast Tips for Work and Life. So any which way you want to gather some more information on this subject, but I really just wanted to give you a quick hit and really talk about getting your mind in order so that as you head into these job interviews, you're focused on your communication, not just your credentials. All right, until next time, we'll see you. Have a great one.